Welcome! In this explainer, we're diving into a really powerful tool that can honestly transform your classroom, the art and science of framing. Drawing from Dr. Sidendras S.G.'s fascinating research, we're going to see how just shifting a perspective can really unlock a student's potential. So let me ask you this, because we've all been there, right? You've got a student who is just stuck. They are absolutely convinced that a task is impossible. To them, it's a giant mountain. But to you, it's just a small hill, the very next step on their learning journey. So how on earth do you bridge that gap? Well, the answer lies in this powerful concept called framing. And here's the key. It doesn't try to make the problem smaller or easier. No, instead, it gives us the power to change how we see the problem. And that changes absolutely everything. Okay, so let's break this down. What exactly is framing when we talk about it as a lens for learning? Think of framing like a mental lens. You know, like a pair of glasses you wear that you might not even know you have on. It's made up of our beliefs, our emotions, our past experiences, and it filters everything we see. It's the reason two people can look at the exact same situation and walk away with completely different stories. Our reality isn't nearly as objective as we like to think. Let's take a super simple example, a rainy day. The event itself is totally neutral, right? It's just water falling from the sky. But through one frame, it's gloomy, it's an inconvenience, my day is ruined. Through another frame, it's refreshing, it's peaceful, it's a chance to finally relax indoors. Same rain, totally different reality. And this exact dynamic, believe me, it plays out every single day in our classrooms. Now, this idea of shaping our own reality, it's not some new fad. Actually, its power is rooted in some pretty profound ancient wisdom, which gives us a solid philosophical foundation for what we see in our classrooms today. This incredible quote from the Upanishads says it all. Yata drishti tata srishti. It translates to, as is the vision, so is the creation. I mean, just think about that. It's suggesting that the world we actually experience is a direct reflection of our inner perspective, of the frame we're using. Our perception doesn't just watch reality play out, it actively creates it. And you know, there's a classic story from the same tradition that just nails this idea perfectly. It's the simple tale of the rope and the snake, and it's a brilliant metaphor for how our minds build our emotional reality. So, picture this. You're walking down a path. The light is dim. You see something coiled up on the ground ahead. Now, your mind, because it doesn't have all the information, it frames what it sees as a snake. And immediately, your heart starts pounding, your body floods with fear. That threat feels 100% real. But then, someone brings a lamp. The light of knowledge shines on the object, and you see the truth. It's just a harmless piece of rope. The object itself never changed, but the frame did. And the moment that frame shifted from snake to rope, the fear just vanished. This is the core lesson. Our perception directly and instantly shapes our reaction. All right, so let's see this principle in action. We're going to look at some of the most powerful psychological case studies ever recorded, the ancient epics of India. I mean, these stories are absolute masterclasses in the power of framing. So, our first case study comes from the Mahabharata. We're right at the beginning of the epic battle of Kurukshetra, and the great warrior Arjuna is facing an absolutely impossible choice. This right here is Arjuna's frame. He looks across the battlefield, and he doesn't see an opposing army. He sees his cousins, his beloved teachers, his own family. So he frames this battle as a personal tragedy, a disgusting act of killing his own kin. And that frame, it paralyzes him with grief and despair. And this is where his guide, Krishna, steps in. Now notice this. Krishna doesn't change the reality. He doesn't say, "Don't worry, the battle's canceled." No. Instead, he reframes it. He tells Arjuna this is not about personal feelings or revenge. This is a dharma yuddha, a righteous duty to restore justice to the world. And by shifting the frame from personal loss to a higher purpose, he empowers Arjuna to act. Okay, next up, from the Ramayana, we get to see how a frame can actually be manipulated from the outside.
We have Queen Keikei, who at first absolutely loves the hero Rama, and she's thrilled that he's about to be crowned king.
But then her maid, Manthara, starts whispering in her ear. She takes this wonderful event, Rama's coronation, and she reframes it. She twists it until Kaikeyi sees it as a direct threat to her own son's future. She skillfully poisons the frame until Kaikeyi's love turns into fear, and that fear turns into a devastating betrayal. It's such a stark warning about how vulnerable our frames can be. And for our final case study, we have Hanuman. He might be the ultimate example of a purpose-driven mindset. He arrives in the enemy city of Lanka, and his mission is to find the kidnapped Sita. Now think about it. He could have easily framed Lanka as this terrifying, impenetrable fortress full of demons, an impossible task. In that frame, it would have led to fear, inaction, paralysis. But Hanuman didn't do that. He framed the entire situation through the lens of his mission. So every wall, every guard, every challenge, it wasn't an obstacle. It was just the next step on the path to finding Sita. His frame literally determined his action.
So, okay, ancient epics, epic battles. How does any of this help us with a student who's struggling with a math problem or who's intimidated by a difficult text? Let's bring all this incredible wisdom right into your classroom.
Just look at these two frames. On the left, you've got the fixed frame, that beginner attitude, I'm not good enough, I'll never catch up. But on the right, you have the beginner mindset, a growth frame. And the magic ingredient that makes all the difference, it's just one tiny, powerful word. Yet. I'm not there yet reframes the entire situation from a permanent failure into just a temporary spot on a learning journey. And here's the best part. Reframing is a skill. It's something we can actually teach. This gives us a roadmap. First, we teach students to pause and name the frame. What lens are you looking through? Second, seek a higher perspective, just like Arjuna did. Third, guard against negative influences. Recognize the Mantharas in your life. Fourth, look for the rope, not the snake. Get clarity before reacting from a place of fear. And finally, consciously adopt a growth frame, turning every I can't into an I can't yet. And this brings us to the most important takeaway in all of this. It's about really understanding where our true power as educators lies. Look, you can't always change a student's reality. You can't always make a difficult subject easy. But what you can do is help them change their relationship with that reality. You can help them find the light to see the rope instead of the snake. You can help them find that higher purpose that turns a challenge into a mission. That is your real power. Because in the end, it's not about changing the world outside. As that ancient wisdom reminds us, you just need to change the frame, and the entire picture changes with it. Thanks for watching.